Demise spun their way to victory, but can they do the same against Fnatic Rising, who are angry after a slow start the last week? And M&M are going to take on Diabolus in an absolute banger of a game, all to, in the end, take on the big bad wolf at the top of the tower. This is UKLC. Welcome everyone to second day of the second week here of UKLC. I'm Maritz Chronically Miosa, joined here by Dan Ox Harrison. Unfortunately, it's my last day, but fortunately for you guys, it's not the last day of UKLC. A lot of action ahead of us, and gonna have some amazing games. I'm gonna miss you too.
I'm gonna miss you.
It's now you're stuck with Jake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes.
What are you gonna do about that?
You know, I could find someone to replace him. It's definitely possible. If you're interested in casting and you think you're better than Jake, then please hit me up at OxCast on Twitter. We're desperately in need of someone to replace him because he really just has not been pulling his weight. Oh God, he's looking at me. He's looking at me. Move on with the show.
Did you not see any of the matches yesterday? You missed some amazing ones. We saw slugfests. I think Diabolus once again just threading the needle and finding a win there. Of course, the spin to win was really the talk of the day when Demise once again found the big victory in a way that not a lot of people expected.
I mean, I sort of saw the Garen Yumi come in.
You
but
knew what was happening.
I didn't expect them to pick it because obviously I bet against them and it absolutely popped off. But I like that they're willing to take risks and bring inspiring picks onto this stage. So I'm happy to see them have another game today.
And if you didn't see that game, definitely check out the Garen Yumi one. You can look at us at YouTube, see all the past matches at LVP UK Law here. As you can see here underneath Ox. And you know, if you have any strong opinions, any weak opinions, just any opinion, that's kind of what Twitter is, then make sure to tweet us at LVP UK Law using that hashtag UKLC. You can, you know, tell us what you think of the show, tell us what you think of the games, how much you like Yumi, and how she makes every character good. Which,
how balanced she is as well.
Honestly, though, I love that there's a character that makes every character previously seen not good.
It just seems like, where's the counterplay? You can't dodge it. I don't know. We're still pondering that one. Is there any champion who wouldn't just be happy with it and Yumi sitting on them? I don't think so.
Still haven't really found anything, and you know. Where's it all going? Where are we going with the UKLC, and what is it all gonna?
Where are you going?
Oh, well, I'm leaving, unfortunately. But UKLC is a very clear destination, and we're incredibly happy to announce that we now have the location and the date for the live finals for you guys of UKLC, so you can actually come and watch us play. I mean, not us. So supposedly, maybe you're very good at League, but you can watch the plays. You can meet everyone at the live finals in Twickenham here, 1st of September in the Twickenham Stadium.
Yeah, that is going to be pretty hype. Will be a bunch of booths going on as well, so it's not just the finals to see. There'll be your chance to pick up merch, meet a ton of people, some small celebrities might be showing their faces, so be sure to get down. Yeah, it's me. You'll get a chance to meet me. That's enough. That's enough to sell it.
And then make sure to go to uklc.gg/tickets to pick up your ticket and get a chance to join this great event. If you want to support the UKLC, if you want to support the UK esports scene, or if you just want to have a good old day of fun, it's a great sell.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Just turn up, have a little bash, have a little bit of fun, and you can hang out with us and maybe watch some League of Legends. I guess that's
supposedly.
There's that, you know, but there's other stuff too.
I think that might be the main appeal for some other people.
For some people, but you know, if you want to have an in-depth discussion with us about Alan Partridge or whatever, then feel free to come down. And
yeah, on that note, that's going to be the finals, but that's still a long way ahead. So let's pull it back a little bit and look at what we got ahead of us.
Week 2, we have a long way.
It's still a very long way, and we already talked a little bit about the matches yesterday. Of course, Demise looking really strong as we take a look at some of the highlights here, and yeah, there you see it. This is not a mistake. Dan Voxney, a carry that we really praised for his highly mechanical play, the Kai'Sa, the Vayne, is playing Garen. He still went 7-0-11 on this, so
yeah,
you know,
I mean it worked. It was just too tanky to deal with. And then this is another one of our games, Envision against Fnatic, where Honestly, Envision showed a lot of life in the early levels, but Fnatic were just a bit too strong for them, and they are still very much set on taking the tower off XL. We see one of the closer team fights that came just pre-10 minutes.
Oh, the red buff.
Yeah,
That's an
unlucky
red
one.
buff.
But in the end, it was Fnatic who cleaned up this one, and this is where they really started to bring the force in the game. And although 3z3 escaped, it just got a bit worse and worse for the side of Envision from there on out.
Yeah, and they started off so strong, so it's still something that they can look at and say, okay, there were some moments here where we were able to find the big plays, maybe build upon that in the following weeks. And of course, as one of the teams that came in through the promotion tournament, Envision, it was always going to be an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Fnatic are one of our top teams, obviously winning their last split. And I think to show any life against them, to show and even get exposed to your weaknesses, it can be a really great learning experience. There are obviously teams in the league who everyone would rate weaker than Fnatic, and I think that's the team's Envision is looking to take down, and hopefully this has been a learning experience for them.
Definitely, and yeah, the Envision Fnatic game, that wasn't that long. We had a lot of really long games yesterday. Fastest game of the split by, I think, a minute and a couple of seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Or was it just 10 seconds? We keep getting these,
yeah,
but I know it was the fastest game.
I'm not going to quote anything. It was the fastest game, definitely. We had that confirmed. By what margin? Who knows?
Doesn't matter. It was the fastest game, and regardless for the Enclave, this was not a fast game whatsoever.
No, this was very long. It went on for such a long time, and honestly, there was a point where I thought, okay, Enclave have won this, but Dallas managed to bring it back, and this was the starting point of Enclave getting the lead. They called Diablos out on this attempt on the Rift Herald. They get a ton of kills here. I believe it's 3 in the end, and they get that Rift Herald steal, and then they go for the play on Abili, and he somehow... You looking at this, you're like, he's down, he's dead. But somehow manages to live here. The heal coming in, doing so much. Oh, it's just huge plays coming out from them, and yeah, and it ended up getting to this point. That's a lot later in the game, but this is where they're fighting for the Elder Dragon, and then Enclave get it. It's a 4-dragon buff. The game seems absolutely doomed here.
You see this. They even get skilled. Freeze frame. They'll win the game. Right?
It's this tornado. It's this tornado. Lands here, and then a great follow-up ult coming out from Khan. And they actually managed to turn it around from here. Kevo does not have the damage to deal with this Yasuo.
That's my boy Furai.
And he just absolutely pops off.
Doing great, and this was also, as you can see, a very long and exciting game. Eminem vs Barrage, also a lot of dynamics, and while it was in the end fairly clear that Eminem, with a great play there, were able to kind of find a lack of initiative here and there from Barrage, and really show that they are at the moment a stronger team. Yeah. It was definitely, Barrage have a lot to look at, especially when you compare it to the showing last week against Excel, which, with how good Excel was looking, you can't ever really take any stock in that.
Them, yeah,
exactly.
It was a great game coming out from both sides, but Eminem just at the end, Chibs had a really solid read that led them to get in the back door. I mean, I, of all people, didn't expect that to happen. We thought it would come down to a fight for the Elder Dragon with those 5 Jakes stacked up by Eminem, but it was that backdoor that ended up securing it, which has pushed them through to the second day. And a lot of people, well, particularly you, were thinking that Barrage would be able to make it through, but you were proven wrong.
I was the only one that favored Barrage, and I do not regret a thing, but let's take a look at the unsung hero of yesterday, because we've gained a lot of praise to Dan Voxney, but the one who was enabling it all was, of course, Vigo here, smiling triumphantly into the camera as his Yuumi play was simply impeccable. Almost 90% kill participation, insane damage shares, and look at that healing done.
That's as a support, 34% damage share. And that's what you do when you do the Garen Yuumi, is the Yuumi is the carry, the Garen is just the vessel.
And he was a very, very, very strong vessel. Let's not mistake that.
Yeah.
And I will not be surprised if, specifically for that reason, we just see the Yuumi band away. Like Fnatic, as we're going to get into the games a little bit later.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play with that one. I mean, maybe they want to test it out and see what can beat it, but I think by all means they should just ban that away, not give them an opportunity because...
I kind of want to see it again, though. I want Fnatic to take it on.
I wonder if they've practiced it themselves. That would be interesting, because I saw Reckless actually said... Reckless said, I don't know he's on the main team, but he said Garen Yuumi bot lane, he'd like to play against that, or he would play it because it looks really fun. So maybe it's been going on. There's been some
interesting.
Maybe some internal scrims and Fnatic and practice. Who knows?
Let's take a look at the predictions, because as you were already hinting towards, I had a firm lead, but my faith in the boys in blue didn't pay off twice. I can still end up ahead of you, though, and ahead of Jake, if Axel just take it all tonight.
You are always ahead of me. You can't not be ahead of me because we have the same tower.
Oh, that is actually true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Jake can overtake you.
I'm sorry, that's an honest mistake. I thought you could catch up with me.
Yeah.
But
I'll do it next week. You'll be gone. I'll become the superior analyst. Just you wait.
We get more points.
Yeah.
But we get more up, essentially, because that's what the real victor is. That's what the real best analyst takes his, his victory.
You can keep throwing in your predictions if you want.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the bracket, though, because we've had a lot of action, and as you can see, the tower is slowly being climbed, with all of these teams starting off at the bottom and then slowly fighting their way up against Excel, who are just sitting down, lounging, and, scouting out the opposition before supposedly taking them down.
But a big thing I want to talk about is what I call the play-in syndrome. We saw it at EU Masters, we saw it at Worlds. Whenever teams have to fight through play-ins, they tend to get better from that practice. And I feel like this might be a similar case. Obviously, it's not play-ins, it's a tower, but Fnatic have to go through a bunch of games prepping them for that final match. I think just being at the top of the tower might be a disadvantage if XL are caught off guard.
We're going to see that here as we take a look at the schedule here, starting off at 6 with Demise versus Fnatic Rising. Then at 7, Darbless taking on M&M Gaming. And then at 8, we're going to have the victor of those two matches face off against one another. And then at 9, the final boss of the evening is going to be XL. And I'm really curious because last week we saw that XL made their way throughout the entirety of the whole tower. And then they looked absolutely dominating.
Yeah. I mean, they did absolutely. I think they had a solid performance from all their members, particularly the boss side of the map. Special, Gyanin and Kasing just looked unstoppable. And my concern is, will any team be able to match that, even if they do have a great run up to the tower?
Let's take a look at the next match, because of course we're going to start the day with Demise taking on Fnatic Rising. And Demise have really surprised a lot of people, I think, me included, because they looked good in the promotion tournament. They looked good coming in to kind of Forge, where they were able to take a game off here and there. But I think the performance that we've seen from thus far has been kind of a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they showed that they're willing to add some flexibility. We thought they were just going to be play around Denvox Day, but they did a lot more than that in their first week. And then yesterday, they were even willing to put a completely different style by saying not only are they not playing around Denvox Day, he's playing a tanky character and they're putting the carry role into Vigo. I like the flexibility. I like the fact that they're willing to try things that other teams might not be as confident on. And I think it's definitely given them a lot of success. So I hope they continue along that path when they face Fnatic. And I hope to see some more spicy picks.
Let's take a look at our focused matchup here today. It's Denvoxny versus Prosfa and Xmati. Sorry, I can't really.
Denvoxny versus Xmati.
Because it's the bot lane, right? You always.
Yeah, it is the bot lane. So obviously our focus is the AD carries. Denvoxny, although he has been moving away from that sort of carry role, he very much was the big one-man army when he was playing in the promotion tournament, and Xmati has been just rising up and shown so much dominance on this Fnatic Rising roster. So that's our matchup to watch, but obviously it does come down to the total bot lane and how things play out, because Prosper and Vigo are going to be instrumental in providing their AD carries to be the carries for the team.
I think it's also Fnatic Rising, they kind of have to prove not just that they're a good team, but that they're one of the best teams. And I mean, the expectations on them are so high.
If you look at last split, they have to be the best team, because if they're not, they're going down from last split. If anything less than Fnatic Rising being the best team in the league will be a disappointment for them, because to go from winning not only the UKLC but also the 4G Champions and then coming top 4 in EU Masters, they will absolutely just want to beat that record. And you can't really do that if you start off by not even being the top team in the UK. So I know for a fact they will be wanting to prove not only are they better than Demise, not only are they better than M&M and Doubtless, but they are better than XL. And that is what they'll be trying to make the statement of, not only in this game, but throughout today. And I'm interested to see if they even make it past this one, because Demise has had a lot of upsetting performances. And, you know, if they bring out the Garen Yuumi again, who knows?
Let's take a look at that wildcard roster. Demise playing without fear and without a care in the world. As we take a look, Zyko in the top lane, Hidden in the jungle, of course, filling in for Batu and doing a great job thus far. Vixen in the mid lane, and Dan Voxney and Vigo as AD carry and support. And as you were saying, there doesn't seem to be any pressure on Demise. They're just playing, they're having fun, they're pulling out these wacky strategies and winning while doing it, whereas Fnatic Rising, are one of the teams to beat. Shikari in the top lane, NG in the jungle, Magi Felix in the mid lane, and Xmati and Prosfair as AD carry and support.
Yeah, so obviously a very stacked roster, did great last split, but haven't yet lived up to those expectations. Only got to play one game last week.
Yeah.
And they did give a good fight to XL, the best fight of any team, but I know absolutely they want to do more than that. They want to prove they're the best by all means, and they still have a very similar roster, but the loss of Dan in the jungle has meant a big shift in dynamics for the team. and I think they need some time to adjust, but I know they're not really being given time because XL have come in really strong, and they have laid out a challenge. We toppled you off the tower, you need to climb it and try again, but they need to go through Demise first.
They really do, and I think on one end, Demise, they're looking for yet another breakout victory, just keep trying to knock those teams down, whereas Fnatic, against Envision, they looked absolutely dominating, right? They, barring a really early moment where we saw a nice double kill from Infinity, from that point on, just took control of the game, multiple dives, and it felt like they were playing with an extra member always there due to great roams. Now, even if you're a Fnatic Rising fan, I imagine you want to see the same things against Demise, because don't forget, Demise did drop the game last week against Diabolus. Now, it was a fairly close game, but you got to feel like Fnatic Rising, looking at the level of play there, should be a little bit of a step above that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the big benchmark of the UK is Fnatic Rising. If Demise can have a good match against them, not even necessarily beat them, if they can show their prevalence against a team like this, that could be enough just to establish them as one of the top teams in the UK. It's a big benchmark, it's a big expectation to live up to, but I know they're confident. Unfortunately, they won't have the Garen Yuumi to do that.
Because Yuumi is banned, and everyone that enjoys interactive bot lanes is a happy camper here. Rise and Civ are also taken away. Still a lot of power available here, but with some bans left, let's see what we'll end up with. And the Rise hasn't been in contention as much as we've seen in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. Since the changes, he's not as reliable in the early game. He still scales pretty well, but you cannot just take him as a blind who's going to do well in any matchup. And so for that reason, he's dropped in priority, but nice. Still kind of fearing his late game potential. Pyke gets banned away again from Crossfair, so he did actually get to play it yesterday. It is one of his go-to picks, particularly for solo queue. That does mean things like the Aatrox are still available, the Lux is still an option, which we've seen have a lot of success in the support role. A lot of champions still on the cards for these teams. Now comes to Fnatic Rising for their final ban.
And they really, of course, I think 100% ban rate thus far in the UKLC.
100% ban rate.
Just probably not going to see that. It's simply too strong. You can flex it everywhere. It works well with a lot of popular characters at the moment, and the Nunu getting taken away there from Hidden.
It's an interesting one because I believe that was a pick that Batu liked to play himself, so I think they're concerned about them playing as a team as opposed to the fact that, you know, it was Batu's pick. They're still like, what if Hidden can play it as well? They banned that one away, but it does leave the Aatrox open for the side of Demise. Big picks that are open are the Nico and the Lux. I think they definitely likely to go for that Nico. They've locked that in. Question is what they take here. Okay. And actually go for the Gragas. That does potentially leave them in a good position to take the Yasuo. However, if we saw this Aatrox get flexed, they could take the Yasuo away as a denial, because we've seen Gragas Yasuo have so much dominance as a combination. It's often picked together, and I think that almost definitely that third pick from Fnatic Rising will be Yasuo. So will Demise be confident enough to flex the Aatrox and pick it themselves instead? They're looking towards that Caitlyn, and that was a big pick for Voxney in the promotion relegation tournament that was banned away from him consistently after he had so much dominance on it. And then Lux going to come through. I think that's a very strong bot lane for Demise, but it does free up the Gragas Yasuo for Fnatic Rising. I'd be very surprised for them not to pick this up here. And it very quickly gets locked in. Yeah, so
good job, Hawks.
A lot of flexibility coming out from Fnatic Rising. We've seen the Gragas Yasuo be flexed together. It can go mid-jungle. It can go in the bot lane. They also have the Nico, which is a really flexible pick in its own. So it's hard to predict where Fnatic are putting things. However, in Demise, they've picked up their bot lane. It's almost definitely the Caitlyn Lux bot. They picked up that Aatrox, which I think is most likely Zyko's based on his champion pool. And then very quickly we see the Sejuani band away, which offers a lot of strength if you want to gank top to facilitate that. Kennen gets banned away from Shikari, which is go-to blind. And he has to have some sort of a pick to answer this. It could be that Nico. It is an option, but we'll have to wait and see if that's what he wants to go with.
And as you were saying, we see for Demise here, a strong bot lane is locked in, and that is something that Demise, back then known as the AB Brotherhood, was able to really turn into not just a strong early game, but a really good mid game. Now, doing that against a team like Fnatic is a big risk, as it looks like we also see the Nautilus and the Skarner taken away there, and just picking up the Shant now. It's not the strongest of picks in terms of sheer laning, but you know he's going to get through it, he's going to get tanky, and that Stance United and the split push pressure is always going to be there.
Yeah, also does get the Ninja. No, sorry, I should
keep going for it, all right?
We'll get the Ninja up as well. Haha, TFT, really funny.
You really enjoy TFT though, so
I feel like that's a Shikari pick. Almost definitely, it is the pick he plays. He doesn't like to give up a lot when he's playing defensively, even against a rough matchup like the Aatrox. but it could still be a flex. They could put the Nico and the Shen in the bot lane, have the Shen support, and then pick something like a Fiora as a counter to the Aatrox. I don't think it's likely. I really don't expect it, but it's still possible, so Demise has to be aware of that, and they are potentially looking at the Ahri, but they do move away from it. That is a pocket pick for Vixen. Would be a shout-out, but they instead opt to go for the Morgana. I expect that to be a mid lane Morgana, going the Glacial Augment allows a lot of CC, and it does mean you can't punish her with the level 6 with the Gragas ult into the Yasuo ult, so a bit of defensive capability there. And if you play Morgana, Elise, Lux, so much CC, one hits, all of them hit, and now we do see the final lock-in coming out, and it is going to be that Jarvan, which suggests to me that it's going to be Matty and Prosper on the Shen Yasuo, the Gragas Yasuo, and then we'll see the Shen go in the top lane, and we'll see.
There's so many ways in which this can go.
I expect it's going to go from top to bottom: Shen, Jarvan, Nico, Yasuo, Gragas. That's what I expect it to be in the end. But we'll have to wait
don't forget, we've also seen Magifelix and Shikari swap. So even if the champions are put on the top and mid lane respectively, that doesn't actually mean that that is what they're going to go with. And it looks like this is the lineup that we see now. Now, it tells a couple of things. We do supposedly have a Shen and Nico bot lane, and we have a Gragas jungle. But Magifelix and Shikari, last time they swapped around as well. For Demise, not as many questions as you were saying. Vigo going for the Lux support, Morgana in the mid lane. And I look at Demise and I see a good old pick composition, because if you hit even a single part of CC, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is my concern, is that sometimes I feel like teams flex for the sake of flexing. And I don't want to criticize Fnatic Rising's draft, because I think that has some great ideas, but the issue I have with it is now you're playing Nico Shen into a Kate Lux bot lane. That does not seem like a fun time for me. And then the mid lane, it's the Gragas Yasuo, which is a great combo, but they're up against a Morgana, which is very hard to punish. You can't just, freely pop your ult and then expect to be able to ult off it. I feel like they may end up coming out ahead because of the skill difference, but right now, Fnatic might have some rough laning phases.
They might. I like the confidence from the Myers here, though. They're going for a composition which I feel like at least you need to find an edge somewhere in the early to mid game with the Elise pick and with the Caitlyn. If you don't find that early impact that you're looking for, especially with the Caitlyn, you follow in the mid game, and late game you might come back, but against the composition of Fnatic, I feel like that's always a little bit of a risk that you might be taking. As we see plenty of wall coverage here, they're aware what Angie is doing, and Demise, a lot of confidence, whereas Fnatic, as you were saying before, so many flex picks here, and you got to be scared of the hard engage there, because while Demise might have a nice pick composition, and if they can find out a target and start sieging, it's looking amazing. I look at Fnatic, and I see a Yasuo that is backed up by not only a Jarvan, but also a Gragas, and that is something that I'll always be afraid of.
Absolutely, and you have to be so cautious, and we talked about how Vixen has that Black Shield to offer as a defensive option up into the Gragas Yasuo, but you can't always rely on that one when there's two possible targets between the Elise and the Morgana.
And we see hidden there, starting leashless. Fnatic, some question mark pings going down towards that blue side start, so going for a little bit of a feign there, trying to make sure that hidden can't be as easily tracked, and of course, on the Elise, if there's a jungle in which you need to do that, it's that one, but Xmati already taking a lot of damage as Vigo gets torned up. The Aftershock evens up the trade, at least relatively. We're talking about this Lux and Caitlyn bot lane, and I can't imagine there's a lot of on the face as Psycho and Shikari already in a battle of the 1v1, but Shikari hits level 2 first, gets Psycho really low, but it's not enough, and now Psycho hits the level up himself, goes forward with the Umbral Dash, but it's not enough. Shikari will have the advantage now, but Aatrox, of course, has great sustain if he can just find a way, but instead Psycho not going to take the risk and goes for a back.
That's the big thing, he's got zoned off the wave so much. Shikari just relying on that passive attack speed to just beat him down. And that's the thing, is that apart from the third Q coming out from Aatrox, there's not very much you can do if someone's up in your face to land those sweet spots. Great knockup comes in.
Shikari once again really putting the beat down here on Zyko. He's already fairly far behind in CS. Now this wave, if he can pick most of up, he's going to feel a lot better, but hitting on a turret with a mad Jarvan trying to swing his lance at you isn't going to feel great. And especially with how low level he still is, he might be looking at hidden. He has not been tracked thus far. The ward in the topside brush will spot him eventually, though, if he walks into range of that, and that will be the case. But Shikari, he was already kind of sensing it. He backs off, and it's going to be safe, at least for now. And we see NG on the bot side, trying to put some pressure there. Already picked up his Scuttle Crab. Maybe look for something with Magic Phoenix, but the Gragas, he doesn't have his Predator boots yet, so he's not in a hurry.
Absolutely in all.
That's a nice cocoon there on top of Shikari. Went for a little bit of a greedy back. A nice bit of harass comes through from Hidden, but Zyko isn't there for the follow-up, and Elise, your dive is really good early on, but I don't think a solo one against someone like Shikari is something that you're really going to get away with, so...
He is still chasing, but it looks like he's just going to force Shikari away. This now might mean they equalize the TP difference.
As Prosfair yet again gets taken low, and then Foxy and Vigo really wanting to kind of put that stamp on this match, showing that while it's Xmani and Prosfair might be one of the most feared bot lanes in the UKLC, though I guess with Yarnan now here, he might also have something to say about that. They definitely can be counted out, and the Caitlyn, as you were saying, it is a comfort pick here for Dan Voxney. And I'm interested to see if he can actually stand up, as we see Shikari now also forced to use his teleport, so even though Hidden didn't force a lot, he was able to put enough pressure on Shikari that now the teleport advantage has been given up.
Yeah, and that also means that Zyko was able to get another back and actually ended up able to pick up 2 long swords, has a bit of an item advantage, and considering how rough it looked when he used that first TP, Hidden did a lot to relieve that pressure. I do have to give a compliment to Shikari though. A lot of people have criticized him and said he is very good at absorbing pressure, but he doesn't push advantages enough. And that's something he was definitely doing in that level 1, trying to really establish his dominance in the lane. So hopefully he continues to do that, but he needs some assistance from NG, because if Hidden comes again, he could be in a bit of trouble.
As Vixen in his mid lane is falling behind Magi Felix, who on the Yasuo is putting out a ton of threat already, and the Morgana having a little bit of a hard time to keep up now, almost 10 CS behind. As Magi Felix gets his first back in, and the double cleanse here for Fnatic isn't something we haven't really talked about yet, but I can only say I applaud that decision. If you look at the cocoon, the binding, the traps, there's so much that you kind of need to evade here, because one of the skill shots definitely means certain death, as we see Prosfair and NG roaming around now. We saw Fnatic do this yesterday against Division as well, but Prosfair, of course, on the pike, had such an incredible impact all around the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Him moving around the map was a big thing, and I think Shen allowed you to do that so much, particularly when you hit level 6, is that even if you leave your AD carry, or in this case, your AP carry alone, you have your ult to move back, but in reverse, you can also ult to other areas of the map. It makes it very difficult for Demise to make plays when they know an extra person could join almost instantly. And the big thing that makes it really tricky as well is it's hard to track exactly where Xmani is when he can obviously shift forms. You may think, oh, we've seen Gragas mid lane, but that Gragas might actually be the Nico, and then another Gragas turns up, and then the Shen turns up, and it's all just a bit confusing. Demise have a lot to keep track of, but they are looking for potentially a dive here.
A little bit awkward there. Shikari walks toward the brush, but Hidden. Even if he would have landed the cocoon, that not sure if it really would have done anything, and he's trying to make something work. There's the flag and drag, and the cocoon, and Shikari getting taken fairly low. Still has the cannibalism available. A nice repel from Hidden, keeps him alive at least for now, but Zyko, he was busy clearing the wave. And Shikari doesn't find the kill, but that was a little too close for comfort. We'll be missing out on a huge wave here though, and the plate's picked up for Zyko. So Hidden's attention to the top lane is finally paying off.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a great matchup to get that. If you get the Aatrox ahead, he will be an absolute monster in the team fights. A Jarvan top lane doesn't want to fall behind, as you will become just too squishy and get blown up. So I like the pressure coming out, but Demise have to expect some counter pressure, and NG is looking for that right now.
And we see Vigo and then Voxney, they sense that something is off, but I don't know if they can hold on here, because this is a 4-man dive.
Magic Felix has ult.
Being set up. There is the dash, but no last breath, at least for now. The teleport comes through as Vigo is still alive, but a clean dive here means that unless we can find him on the retreat, Fnatic are gonna take that. Xmati goes for the cleanse, but there it's Vixen, jumps in forward. Last breath on top of Vigo means that he goes down. Xmati simply walks out of the tether range and is gonna get not taken down, whereas the same can be said. Now then Voxney comes back in, but this was really clean here coming out from Fnatic, who don't give up a single member there.
Yeah, definitely was close. Xmati got onto such a small amount of HP, but that cleanse came in clutch. He was able to get away, and Fnatic get everything they want with that play, burning a ton of TPs as well. They have to be happy with how that one panned out.
And a nice 4-man dive. We saw Fnatic do this yesterday as well. When it comes to these coordinated plays, they are simply exceptional. We haven't really talked about the Mountain Drake yet that was picked up for them as well. And as you were saying, yes, the pressure has been working out, at least somewhat, as though we're going to take a look at a replay shortly here. But perhaps more importantly, every time that we try and see them... because we don't get a replay. Every time that we
were just flexing the UKLC logo.
Yeah, I mean, it is a nice logo. Try and see them make a move. Fnatic have not only countered with the Mountain Drake, which is one thing, but then they immediately have the presence of mind to set up a 4-man dive and execute it so clean. And I think that's one of the things that we were talking about coming into this game. Fnatic, when they set up and execute this place, it just looks like they're on a whole nother level.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big thing, is that the coordination as a team is huge. And I think they needed to make that happen, because I talked about it before the game. It's a rough lane matchup playing into the Lux and the Caitlyn. Unless the Shen can get in range to land a taunt, you can't really do much. And by all means, the Lux Caitlyn just shouldn't let that happen. You really are reliant on your flash to do so. And if it doesn't pan out successfully, you're in a lot of trouble. Shikari, though, has to be careful here.
Yet again, hidden in the top lane, but Blind Cocoon is easily sidestepped by Shikari, and now hidden might be too far forward. NG is getting close, but he just didn't have the Predator available. That might have looked for an engagement otherwise, and he goes for the clear hidden there, in a little pocket. But Shikari, yet again, comes through, and that hard engage is something that even the Spider Lady has to fear. And Demise, they keep looking for these plays, but so far they haven't really worked out yet.
Yeah, I don't think they got the memo. Shikari is not one. Oh, fight comes in.
And NG now hidden, dodges out on the Flag and Drag. And here is the strong engagement of the Aatrox. There is Prosfet trying to come back in, but NG is already taken down. And it's a 1-for-1 trade here with the kill going to Hidden and Shikari.
You know, I absolutely have to say that's a win for Demise. They managed to win this 2v2. Although it's a 1v1, they get the ult as well, but engage comes in.
Zyko goes, or gets engaged on rather, as Shikari with the red and blue buff might be looking for a play, but now he decides to batter off it. Both lane is still of the flash. There is the first knockup. Flag and Wreck comes through, and Zyko doesn't want to give up more.
Oh,
as a
Binding
root
connects.
comes through, and we see that Prosfair will take a little bit of poke, but in the end, no real follow-up damage available, at least for now. Vigor, of course, also low on mana, so couldn't go for a lot more there.
Yeah, and I think although it was a 1-for-1 between Demise and Fnatic, I have to give credit to Demise. They burnt the Shen ult and still managed to trade easily, which is an absolute success. That is such a big cooldown for the side of Fnatic to make those proactive plays, and being able to force it out while still trading evenly is huge. But NG, he's coming and looking for a gank.
Then Voxy and Vigor are very, very far forward, and NG wants to engage, but the teleport is going to be
He can't cancel it.
Is it disincentivized? They go for the root on Psycho, but Demise saw it coming. Hidden was there, and then the immediate teleport, and now they actually have the priority here as Hidden moves forward. They go for a binding on his Matty. The Cocoon does hit, and that means that Demise here, they're picking up a lot of turret plates, and now the question for me is, every single time they've done this, Fnatic has immediately stricken back.
Yeah, but the objective on the cards right now is that Infernal Dragon. All 4 members move over. NG is in the area who might look for a steal, but he doesn't have his bot lane. This might be a one-way trip.
There comes the teleport from Shikari, the last breath immediately on top of Hidden.
He gets
and
it.
There is the steal! A beautiful execute on the, or rather, evade on the jungler means that Zyko now, all of his own, the Voxy goes in and immediately has to flash out. And that can't be the right play there, as Fnatic pick up yet another dragon, and a little bit of an overextension there from Demise.
Yeah, I think it was just a bit of lack of communication. 4 members went over, but Fnatic, they were so confident. They bring the TP in from Shikari. NG goes in with the ult, which allows Magifelix to move in, and then that is the opportunity to take the dragon. And then I think the lack of communication is Zyko was like, wait, I'm stuck in the pit. The Voxy said, okay, I'm with you too. And then Zyko was like, never mind, I'm out. And he's like, oh.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm here. Okay,
I guess I gotta leave. I guess I'm going. Goodbye.
And there's more fallout than just that dragon as Vixen gets tagged, uses the stopwatch, but the taunt from Prosfair is ready to go, and Vixen is not able to dodge that and will get picked up there. And as we're saying, the fallout, it's not just the Infernal Dragon, it's the Rift Herald and Fnatic. They immediately pounce back here. The moment of weakness from Demise, they try to set up a proactive play, but they pay for it with an Infernal Dragon, a Rift Herald, and his subsequent first turret blood here, and now Fnatic at 13 minutes of ballooning that gold lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting that tower is such a big one, but in return, Demise trying to make some pressure here, but look at the mini-map. A lot of members of Fnatic moving.
Yeah, Vigo and then Voxney very far forward. There is the Glacial Osmond Slow coming through as they try and go for a return kill on Xmatic just to get something out of this. But the Fnatic Goon squad, they're ready to go. They're ready to rumble. Then Voxney goes for a couple of autos. But it's too little too late.
And they managed to hand off a kill to Magi Felix, so he's in a great position. Shikari, he's just absorbed pressure throughout this game, is behind in Siesta Zyko, but not even able to take that tower. And now Matty and Crossfair gonna take even more plays. The gold lead just shy of 5,000 for Fnatic Rising here.
And they've gone downhill very, very fast. There's Hidden yet again is in the top lane. Shikari gets knocked up, but Zyko, of course, doesn't have the permanent revive. A lot of damage coming through on Hidden. Taken very, very low. Needs to flash away, not to get autoed as Zyko doesn't have the reset yet. The teleport comes through from Dan Voxney, but I don't think he has enough damage to kill Shikari, at least for now. He's still stuck under his turret while the wave is slowly pushing in, so I don't know if Shikari's going to be fine here. As you're saying, NG is on his way. Now Dan Voxney tanking a lot of turret shots. And it's more about Magi Felix and NG who are making their way here. Hidden with a nice repel, will get out there. But is that enough? Because Magi Felix is on the back foot here. NG goes for the flash engage. Last breath with the explosive cask. And that's going to be the end of Dan Voxney. And Zyko now caught between a Yasuo and a hard place. A double kill for Magi Felix. Vigo in the back that couldn't really find an opening. And it's yet again Fnatic who find the better end of that play.
Yeah, and just great play from Shikari. Bought so much time for his team to react and get in position. And then NG and Magi Felix, the strength of this duo allows them to clean up. Magi Felix taking a bit of damage, but is able to just shrug it off. We see all these kills, all this gold going over to Magi Felix. The Yasuo Gragas combo is so powerful because all you have to do is launch that cask, and it's an easy follow-up with the last breath.
We saw that then Voxney, is KDA looking too hot, not looking too hot, but what can you do? As you were saying, it's such a potent combination. We've seen this many a time. If it is in mid or jungle or as a bot lane duo, the Gragas Yasuo has been so pivotal to a lot of the victories that XL, that Fnatic have gotten this far here at the UKLC.
Yeah, and it makes it interesting because we see Fnatic obviously showing it's in their wheelhouse as well. It's something that XL relied on pretty heavily on their climb to the top of the tower. So if Fnatic are looking towards that, they're now showing, yeah, we can play it too, so you can't just leave it open and aim to pick it up yourself.
So that means we're going to see Garen Yuumi from Fnatic next, right?
Absolutely, by all means. But they still have this game ahead of them. Then Voxney is on Caitlyn, it is something that's going to scale up well, but Crossfair's coming in.
A nice binding there from Vigo means that then Voxney, at least for now, is going to be fine. There is a flash taunt in the flag and drag. And that's the end of Dan Voxney, unfortunately, as Vigo, he tried his very best to keep his teammate alive, but that means that he will also be paying for his life. And yet again, Hidden tries to get something done with Zyko on the upper side of the map, but Magi Felix just absorbs that pressure. And with how fed he currently is, honestly, I don't know if they don't get a clean execute if he's not just going to 1v2, as Crossfair and NGI yet again moving around Hidden might think of going into his own jungle. That's not going to go well. 3 men waiting into a brush, the Fnatic trademark. And while the early game was looking good, like we saw with Envision yesterday, Fnatic in this early to mid game are just showing absolute dominance.
I mean, look at the difference of the lanes that each side try to focus. Demise put a lot of effort into focusing down Shikari. He only just recently gave up a death, and even then he managed to provide 2 kills for Magi Felix. But in reverse, look at the bot lane of Demise. 0-7 between them. And that's not because they're just massively misplaying, it's because Fnatic have put so much pressure, and then the mistake Demise made as a team is they tried to punish Shikari, and this guy is a brick wall. He does not give up any more than he has to when you apply pressure, and all they've gotten from all those ganks towards the top side are a 20 CS lead for Zyko, which is very inconsolable when you're almost 10,000 gold down. You're not even at 20 minutes.
And the Mountain Dragon second one gets taken there, meaning that a Baron will always be on the cards. Then Voxney yet again gets tagged there by the spooky ghost, and they're standing very far forward for a team that can't do a lot. There is the last breath as Hidden gets taken down yet again. And Fnatic are just absolutely demolishing here. Vixen gets taken fairly low as Magi Felix crits him twice. And I gotta say, Oaks, this is the point where I look at you and say, how do they come back into this game? Because Demise, as you were saying, it doesn't necessarily feel like individual mistakes. It feels like they try to put so much focus on the top side, whereas Fnatic, they just kept throwing people at them. Voxney and Vigo completely shut them down. And now we're at the situation where Fnatic might just break yet another record here if Demise can't mount a defense.
He absolutely is very short, and actually Binding connects.
There is then Vox. He is able to get out of the Pop Blossom, but is that enough? I don't know if it is. Psycho immediately needs to flash, tries to go in with the knockup, and he will find it. But that is an 18-minute inhibitor here, already getting picked up by Fnatic. The Baron isn't even here, and the base is already broken open. I just heard that the fastest game that's been played thus far is 22 minutes and 48 seconds, and that was Fnatic's game yesterday.
Yeah, so they are playing games done fast in the UKLC right now. They get it done.
Is that the UK version? Yeah. Games done fast as opposed to games done quick?
Yeah, we say games done fast in the UK.
I mean,
no, we don't. It's games done quick. Whatever. Whatever.
I just wanted to let you.
They're doing games fast, quick, speedy.
Games fast, quick. I mean, you can say whatever you want about Fnatic, but they are looking exceptionally speedy here, as every single objective falls before the might of a team that, honestly, after the loss to Excel, you got to look at that and say, oh, that's got to be a rough loss. But Fnatic, the only thing it seems to have made them done is made them angrier, and
yeah,
they're ready to smash.
Focused. They are putting so much effort in, but this game is not over yet. It's not looking good though for Demise. They need to be able to stall. That Fierce Baron is going to be an issue though, because it's going to go down so fast for the side of Fnatic. And now Vixen, that's not where you want to be.
That's not where you want to be. There's the flag and drag and the taunt. And there is absolutely no counterplay with the mid laner from Demise here. And Demise, they have looked incredible here against the lower and mid-tier teams. But Fnatic, at least for now, seems to be just a little bit too dominant here, as we have a 12k gold lead as we approach the 20 minutes here. And for me, the thing is as well, with the team composition of Demise,
look at the goal difference between the mid laners.
I don't want to, Dan. I really don't. I see it.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of gold.
That's a 5k gold lead just between... Most teams don't have a 5k gold lead between the whole team at 20 minutes. That's a 5k gold lead in one roll. MagiFelix, he's almost Flame Horizoned him already. He's got 6 kills. And this is not on a champion who's going to fall off. This is Yasuo. He is just going to scale up, especially compared to Morgana. They just, I mean, while we're talking, they just finished the Baron in 2 seconds because of those Dwarf Mountains. This...
Shikari yet again sees it and walks his lane. So, well, yeah, we're really going to go for this again. And he just flashes out, you know, and that's the end of that. No counterplay here for Demise.
I got to say, though, at least they got 2 kills. It's not a perfect game.
It's not a perfect game. They also got a lot of damage on the top and bot side turret. And, you know, as Demise, you're also going to look back at this game and say, we look at these first 10 minutes, because it feels like everything after that was just Fnatic perfectly executing and prolonging and building upon the lead that they've got in those first 10 minutes. It was a repeated attention towards the top side with Zyko. Yes, he was doing well, but Angie gets taken low there as Vixen finds the Glacial Augment. The root hits on MagiFelix, but it's not enough in time as he dashes forward with the last breath. A double kill here for Xmati, as a nice laser from Vigo finds absolutely no one, and that might very well be it. Xmati uses the shield. He's off on his own, and why we see a third kill here. He doesn't want to die. He's not going to. A perfect game. No! What are you doing?
They try to get the penta for him. They try to get the penta.
Xmati!
They left it, but he dies to the pool, gives over a kill. They greeted for it. Unfortunately, won't get it, but they will get the game in a dominating fashion. And I do believe that is our fastest game in the UKLC so far. Fnatic constantly setting records.
59 seconds faster than the last one, and I don't know who's going to win between Darbless and Eminem after these 2 games for Fnatic. I'd be pretty scared.
Yeah, but you just got to focus on the game in front of you. I mean, got to give credit to Demise. They had that, you know, the first, like, 4 minutes of the game looked okay.
I think I think that the ideas that they have is something that it's easier to fix than the miscommunication that we've seen in some other situations. The miscommunication around that Dragon Pit where then Voxney accidentally gets knocked back in. Now,
I mean, it happens. In intense moments, it can happen. I think maybe it was the wrong idea to try and focus Shikari, because he really just doesn't give a lot up. And you basically left your bot lane to dry. But, you know, it's always going to be a hard matchup against Fnatic Rising, especially when they're clearly a bit frustrated after what happened last week. So
they're very motivated.
Took all of that out on Demise, and it's got to be a learning experience, though. It's week 2, long way before we have our live finals in Twickenham. You have a chance to work on the mistakes, and I think it's honestly good to have a thrashing, I'm going to say it, a thrashing like this early in the split, because it exposes those weaknesses that other teams didn't. So when you play some of the weaker teams, you might think, oh, I'm going to do this because we don't get punished. Fnatic will punish you for that, and they did. They absolutely crushed them. And so now Demise, they can go back and go, right, okay, what do we need to work on? And then they'll say, well, a lot of stuff, but that's what you need to do. You need to work on it and improve on the split, because we saw last split, XL started off as our strongest team, and then they just sort of fell away towards the end of the split. This has happened again, but the key thing is you keep on improving, and that's what Demise will be looking to do after this match.
And enough about Demise, because they gave it their all, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. But Fnatic Rising, they just seem to be playing the game at a whole nother level, because every single step that Demise tried to take wasn't just countered with a similar move, but a complete uppercut following after that, because we saw them make a single gank on top lane that took a while and try and contest, and Fnatic just absolutely murdered them after that.
Yeah, murdered,
Yeah.
destroyed, crushed.
Can go into a lot more detail on that, but we're going to take a very short break or a very long break, I think, with how short the game has just been, till 7. So it actually is going to be a fairly long break, and it gives you a lot more time to kind of decompress and take a look. 15-minute break. You can just catch a little bit of the Garen Yumi and YouTube.
You can actually go into the VODs
Exactly.
and watch,
the game.
75% of that game back. It was that quick.
And make use of the break. We'll be right back with Eminem taking on Diabolus.